Hi everyone, my name is Pixelicious, and today we're going to be going over the restoration video that was posted by Mob Entertainment about a couple weeks ago. Because I moved, as you can tell, I wasn't able to get to it right away, but it gave me some time to think about it and break it down for you and come up with some little theories. So yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and press the thumbs up button, and of course subscribe if you'd like to see more videos by yours truly. Alright, let's dive into it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the video and of course put some pins in some things, make some notes of points of interest. If you want to go ahead and skip the recap, go ahead and jump to this timestamp right here. Starting with the recap, the video begins with surgeons removing their gloves and jumps right into a scientist of Playtime Co. talking to a camera. She tells us of an employee, Thomas Clark, who's been with Playtime Co. since 1995. At 59 years old, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer and volunteered, of sound mind, she says, for this experiment. Let's put a pin in this. We then cut to Thomas Braun on an operating table. We hear off screen someone noting they have eye movement and ask Thomas if he can hear them. We then see the silhouette of the scientist from earlier, noting that Thomas has lost most of his memories and most likely doesn't remember anything that has happened to him. The toys know that Thomas is different, but it's not further elaborated on. Let's definitely put a pin in this scene. Black and white CCTV footage is then showing Thomas Braun in a storage location looking around. From his perspective, we see other toys like a large Huggy Wuggy, PJ Pug-A-Pillar, Candy Cat, and some mini Wuggies and Cat Bees. Suddenly, something large, a foot or a hand perhaps, stomps down in front of Thomas Braun. Let's put a pin in this entire scene here. We cut to found footage style perspective of someone running into the storage room, where at the top of the screen we see a blur of pink and yellow and a bloodied Thomas Braun on the floor. Let's definitely put a pin here. The scientist tells the camera that the other toys would have killed Thomas had there been no intervention. Oddly enough, it's noted that his larynx and thyroid were devoured. We conclude with Thomas now being kept in isolation. Last pin. With the pins we noted, let's dive a little deeper into this video. At face value, it looks like a Playtime Co. employee volunteered to be put into a toy, but was then attacked by the other experiments shortly after. I think this video might tell us a little bit more about some of the characters, as well as what's really going on here at Playtime Co. First pin I want to talk about is Thomas Clark having a terminal illness.
Test subject is 59-year-old Thomas Clark, a full-time employee at Playtime Co. since 1955. 6 months ago, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer.
It makes me wonder if being turned into a toy, being put in a new body, is a form of immortality. Are these experiments not just for bringing back the dead, but giving people a chance to live longer? Since we know they contain organs based off the information about the larynx and the thyroid, can the toy experiments still fall ill? Is it truly immortality? The next moment of interest to me is how the scientist notes that Thomas has no recollection of what happened to him.
It's just conjecture on my part, but I don't believe he knows where he is or what's happened to him.
Now, I'm inclined to believe that she's talking about not having any memory of the attack. However, I do believe she also means after he was transferred into a toy. In the first part of this video, she doesn't mention the attack. She just gives us some information, and we're shown clips of the aftermath, such as Thomas on the operating table. So this video was recorded after the carnage. She could also be making note that after the transfer into the Braun toy, he lost a lot of his memory. The Braun toy in the scene also does not appear to have any damage to it, so I believe this particular scene was shot before the attack, and she's noting that the after was when he was then turned into a toy, he lost his memory. Another note on this pin I'm going to address later for a larger theory is how the scientist notes the other toys know that $11.99 is different.
To make matters worse, the other experiments could tell $11.99 was different.
So we're just gonna pin the pin. In the black and white security footage from Thomas Braun's perspective, we see several toys we all know. The biggest one I want to know is the giant Huggy Wuggy, or possibly a Kissy Missy, as we can't see the face in the videos in black and white. We don't know when this experiment in footage was recorded and took place, but based on the toys we see in this scene, Huggy and Kissy were created in 1984 and 1985, respectively. I assume the giants came about sometime after. With that, I believe this incident took place between 1985 and 1990. I'm cutting off at 1990 as we don't see Mommy Longlegs in this scene at all, and Mommy didn't come about till 1990, with the toy following shortly after in 1991. The giant thing that slams down in front of Thomas, I believe, is not the prototype, but is the Chapter 3 antagonist. I've replayed the footage over and over, and I really cannot make out what it is, so I don't feel well equipped to speculate what this might be. I don't think it's the prototype, as from previous information given to us about the prototype and how intelligent he is, I would assume he's being kept in isolation from the other toys for advanced testing. This note here is quick, but I find interesting. As the camera pulls up into the room and reveals the injured Thomas Braun, at the top left of the screen, we see movement that looks to be pink and yellow. The floppy movement and colors make me believe that this is Kissy Missy. I think she was the one who stopped Thomas's attacker and protected him long enough for help to arrive. Kissy has shown us in Chapter 2 to be helpful, but in the relocation video could also hint she's not afraid to fight back if need be. The note regarding Thomas's isolation from the other toys. A small prediction, but I think Thomas is still down in the factory and we might encounter him, hopefully as an ally, in Chapter 3. If not, I'm sure we will come across an Easter egg in Chapter 3 and enter a small cell with a dead Braun inside. For my final pin and theory, we are going to go back to two pins I believe are related. The scientist noting the other experiments know Thomas is different.
To make matters worse, the other experiments could tell 1199 was different.
And the note that his larynx and thyroid were devoured.
Even then, there was still significant damage to the internal structures, namely the larynx and the thyroid, having been completely devoured.
Quick biology lesson here. The larynx and thyroid are located in the neck of humans. The larynx contains vocal cords and an airway passage to the lungs. The thyroid is a gland that manages our hormones and how our body and organs manage and use that energy. We know the toys have blood or some sort of red blood-like substance in them, but this is where we have confirmation that they have organs as well. When the scientists noted that the others knew Thomas was different, was this because he had these organs? What if he was the first to have human organs? I have a bit of a dark theory here. The experiments before Thomas are possibly either animals or people with animal organs or mixed with animal DNA. This would explain why earlier experiments like Huggy Wuggy, PJ Pugapillar, Bunzo Bunny, and some others acted a little bit more feral. They hunt. They act on instinct. We do know animal testing did occur, as experiment 816 notes that the attempt to resurrect dead rats with poppy gel, and the note taker remarks to try something bigger. In the Bunzo Bunny Easter comic that was posted on Twitter by Mob Entertainment, we see the bird's egg in the factory that contains a hatchling. It seems animals were involved in earlier experiments, but what if Thomas was the first one to have human organs? Braun appears to be a small toy compared to Huggy and the others, so where would Playtime Co. get such small organs to put in a small toy? The Playcare. The Playcare might be an organ farm. The children may not have all been put into toys. Maybe some, but not all. And some of the others might have been used as organ donors. It would explain why the children had to do physical and mental tests like statues and musical memory to make sure their bodies worked properly and were healthy before being used in the experiments and toys. The children most likely were in the age range between infant and to at least 17. That would give the scientists a wide variety of different sizes of body parts. In bigger creations like Huggy, they used larger animals in their organs. And because they were partially part animal, they could smell Thomas was more human than they were. They saw Thomas Braun as prey. So those are my thoughts on the restoration video. I am really hoping Chapter 3 comes out soon. I am super excited and waiting for it. If you'd like me to elaborate further on any of these theories I came up with today, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe once more if you want to see more videos by me. And yeah, I think that's all I got for today. But I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.